So he seems to have a problem. In 2005, you wrote in your op-ed, he declined to join a bipartisan group of 70 senators, including Clinton and Kerry, who signed a letter to President Bush urging the Palestinians demand that Hamas reject terrorism before participating in the democratic process. Today, he says Hamas must renounce terrorism. Hezbollah, in 2006, he declined to join a bipartisan group of 88 senators, including Biden, Clinton, and Kerry, urging European Union to designate Hezbollah a terrorist organization. Today, he says Hezbollah is a terrorist organization. In 2000, he declined to join a bipartisan group of 96 senators, urging President Clinton to express solidarity with Israel at this crucial moment and condemn the Palestinian campaign of violence. He has gone on to Al Jazeera saying that we are or agreeing with the notion that we are, quote, the biggest bully on the planet. He has called the military response by Israel a sickening slaughter. He is really on the Middle East. He's on the wrong side.
That's exactly right, Glenn. I mean, there's a reason the Washington Post, which is certainly no bastion of conservatism, has described Chuck Hagel's record as, quote, near the fringe of the Senate. And in fact, if you contrast Chuck Hagel with John Kerry, just this week the Senate overwhelmingly confirmed John Kerry as Secretary of State. I was one of only 3 votes against him. It was overwhelming in support of him. Kerry's views are, on any measure, very, very liberal. And yet Hagel's views are tremendously more radical than that.
May I say, this is not your characterization, it is mine, but I'd love to hear your response on it. They are almost anti-American.
Well, what they reflect is the typical contempt for American, contempt is the wrong word, embarrassment for American strength that you see among the extreme, among the radicals. You mentioned the Al Jazeera exchange.
This is
at
why
the
he's
hearing,
a senator.
I played 2 excerpts from an interview he did on Al Jazeera. The first one, a caller characterized Israel as having committed war crimes, and Hagel heard that and didn't dispute that characterization at all. The second, which I think was really jaw-dropping, was also on Al Jazeera. A caller asked if he agreed with the perception, quote, and the reality that the United States was the world's bully. And he explicitly agreed. He said, yes, I agree. That point is relevant. It's a good one. Mm-hmm. I agree.
And then he lied to you, Senator, about not hearing that part of it or something.
And it was so clear.
It was so obvious.
It was so clear when you listen to the audio and you see the interview, and it's up on the Blaze, by the way. Ted's Senator Cruz's questioning is up on the Blaze, and also we've added the video that from Al Jazeera. When you see it, it is so clear that he knows exactly what's going on, and then he strangely had the courage to look you in the eye and say, "I didn't know that. I didn't hear that." I mean, what were you agreeing with then?
It was really remarkable, and it's worth underscoring. This is a man who is being put forward to be the Secretary of Defense for the chief civilian officer of the United States military to go on Al Jazeera, a foreign network that is broadcasting propaganda to nations that have extraordinary hostility to us.
No. Al Gore says they're just as good as current.
Well, they can write a big check, so that makes Al Gore quite happy.
Yes,
but to explicitly agree with the statement that America is the world's bully, I'll tell you, that statement undermines the legitimacy of the men and women who are serving in our armed forces right now. I guarantee you the young men and women that are fighting to defend us don't think they're behaving as bullies. And for their Secretary of Defense or prospective Secretary of Defense to say that, I think is not the sort of leadership one expects from a Secretary of Defense.